Alright folks, here we go. Today's the day. We are going to pull the sleeves out. On the block here, pretty much everything has been removed. I flipped it over. I pulled almost all the studs out. Still got some of the smaller ones in it to take care of yet, but I really want to see what these sleeves look like and show you my process for getting those out. It's pretty simple. All I got here is a big bar puller, big piece of threaded rod with some washers and some nuts on it, a couple other blocks of softer steel, and just a block I made with some grooves on it that fit up into the sleeve for pulling that out. It's a little bit softer than the material the sleeve's made out of. These sleeves are very hard, so it's not hard to achieve, but the sleeves are tougher than that block of steel. So if you are trying to pull a sleeve that you want to save, which in this case we are not, my block shouldn't hurt them at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up to pull sleeve number 1 here, and all we do is get that block up underneath into the threaded rod and we start pulling. Alright, big block of steel on the bottom, puller on the top, nuts, big 3/4 10 threaded rod. We're ready to go. What I wanted to point out was I waited until it was at least a little warmer in here to do this, because cast iron does get brittle the colder it is, and it's at least above freezing in the garage today. So here we go. It's working. Surprisingly clean in there. That went really well, and the block is in surprisingly good condition. Love it when that happens. So, on to the next one. Line up your tool, make it as straight up and down as you can get. I always try to put my blocks over, there's, walls here and here, so I always try to get over something as solid as possible so it's not just pushing down on this, because there again it could crack. There's too much pressure on it, and the way that last sleeve came out, I don't think that's going to be a problem today. Well, there you have it, guys. No damage to the block like I was slightly worried about. I don't even think it was a rational fear, but knowing what I know, it's like, well, cast iron, cold, it might crack. It didn't. These blocks are really well designed. Puller worked fantastically. That couldn't have come out any better. If anybody wants blueprints or plans for this, shoot me a comment or a message. I'd be more than happy to send them along to you. As for the block itself, you can see it's actually pretty clean. Cylinder 1 was, at least. As you go farther back, just a little bit more crud in these guys. But all the channels were still open, and it doesn't look like I'll actually have to do any scraping. Everything that's in there appears to be loose. Now the part I've been waiting for, telling you guys about the cylinders. Here's number 1. Definitely still usable. Not bad at all. Number 2. Wow. I'm amazed the rings weren't more destroyed than they are. That is a lot of really deep pitting. Number 3. Lots of pitting, but not nearly as deep. You can really see where this one sat for a while because you can see the ring marks. It's kind of just water marks on this side, but on this side it started to turn into pits. And number 4. That one might still be usable. But there are other ways to use those cylinders too. It's a big, heavy, cylindrical piece of metal. Make a good spacer for other projects and whatnot, so they'll still get used, but I'm a little bit behind schedule, but luckily so is the body shop. They haven't called me to say they're ready yet, so spend the rest of the week scraping the paint off of this thing and we'll get her down there. And that means that this is the last episode of disassembly on this block, and we're finally going to get into putting parts back together on it and whatnot. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. Tearing down kind of sucks. Rebuilding is when things get interesting and more fun. So coming up pretty soon, this is gonna go off to paint. I'm gonna paint some of the other parts we need to get painted right away, and then we're gonna start talking about putting sleeves in, checking the head for flatness. Fortunately, with having tore it down this far, we actually do get to check the head surfaces to make sure they're flat, because the block is small enough that I have equipment to check it with now. If we would have left it in bigger pieces, like if we were only doing a partial teardown, I couldn't check it for flatness. I just don't have anything big enough to do that. So it's going well, and things are about to get really interesting. So hopefully you'll stay tuned for the next one. Subscribe to the channel. It'll be the best way to find out when that video comes out. And I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching.